pa natin siya actually tapos, pero at least alam na natin yung pinaka-basic foundation ng inventory. So, na-discuss rin natin po last time, di ba, yung definition ng inventory as per PAS2 or IAS2. Naalala pa po ba yon?
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes po.
So, meron lang tayong short recapitulation of what we discussed the last time. So, syempre, diba, diniscuss natin yung definition ng PAS2, IAS2. So, for sure, hindi nyo na siya makakalimutan na ito yung definition ng PAS2 or IAS2 regarding inventories. So, kahit anong mangyari, alam na natin kung ano-ano yung mga inventories. So, ano nga ba yung definition ng inventory under PAS2 or IAS2? Inventories are assets held for sale in the ordinary course of the business. So, it is in the process of production for such sale or in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of the services. So, ito yung mga definition, tatlong definition na pwede mag-fall yung asset nyo, kaya pwede siya mag-classify as inventory. Kung hindi yun mag-fall under these definitions, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-classify as inventory. So, alam naman natin mga example ng inventories, di ba? Finished goods, work in process, raw materials, factory or manufacturing supplies inventory, merchandise inventory, consigned goods inventory, saka purchased subcomponents. So, ito yung mga example ng mga inventory. So, yan yung mga normal na example. Now, meron tayong specialized type of inventory like agricultural produce. So, initially, hindi natin siya nire-record as inventory. I-record muna natin siya as agricultural produce under IAS 41 or PAS 41. And then, subsequently, i-record natin siya as inventory under PAS 2 or IAS 2. Natatandaan pa po ba yung ginawa nating example the last time? Naalala pa po ba yon?
Yes po. Yes
Alright.
po.
So yun, diba? Natatandaan natin. Okay. So kapag fruit-bearing trees, nire-record natin as property, plant, and equipment. And then yung bunga nila, nire-record natin as agricultural produce. Pero kung yung ating biological asset ay mga hayop, i-record natin sila as biological assets under PAS 41 or IS 41. And then yung mga anak nila, i-record din natin as biological assets. So, pwede rin natin siya i-classify as inventory kapag ibebenta na natin. So, yan po yung sa biological assets. And then, for the cost of inventory, dapat malaman natin kung ano ba yung nature, paano natin na-obtain yung inventory. Siyempre, kung binili natin yung inventory, the cost should involve the costs of purchase, which includes the purchase price, import duties, and other taxes. So, dapat ito non-refundable yun ha. I-record natin ang import duties and other taxes kapag non-refundable. Pero kapag refundable siya, ibig sabihin, hindi natin siya dapat isama as part ng inventory kasi mababawi din natin yung cost na yon. And then kasama din yung handling cost, transportation cost, and other directly attributable cost. Pag sinabing other directly attributable cost, ito yung mga cost na kailangan natin para maidala yung inventory to its present location and condition. So for example, nanggaling yun sa pier, sa daungan ng mga barko. Saan ba yung tindahan ninyo? Sa Mandaluyong. So, lahat ng cost na kailangan involved para maihatid yung inventory mula sa pier sa Maynila papuntang Mandaluyong, kasama yon. So, kasama doon yung transportation cost, handling cost, ano pa ba? Insurance, if there is an insurance related sa pag-transport ng inventory na yon. So please note that trade discounts, rebates, and other similar items are deducted in the cost of purchase. Ngayon, kung yung nature naman nung pag-obtain nyo ng inventory is through conversion, ginagawa siya. So we have to consider as well the costs of conversion. So normally, yung mga nasa cost of conversion, it is the direct labor and production overhead. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba?
Yes po.
Alright.
Yes po.
And then dapat isama rin natin direct materials. And then, syempre, if there are any joint product costs involved, so we have to allocate the joint product cost. Then, based on the net realizable value or fair market value. Then there are other costs also involved. So, depende to sa asset or sa inventory kung magka-qualify siya under specific qualification or criteria. Like for example, borrowing cost. Yung borrowing cost, kinakapitalize lang siya kapag yung asset na ginagawa mo ay isang qualifying asset. So kapag qualifying asset yung inventory mo, pwede mong i-capitalize or ipatong yung borrowing cost related doon sa pag-manufacture mo ng inventory. Storage cost, generally, expense ang storage cost. Pero, kapag na-incur mo yung storage cost during the work in process stage, habang ginagawa pa lang yung inventory, dapat ipatong mo siya as part ng inventory. So like for example, kapag gumagawa ka ng wine, syempre, di ba, it takes years bago siyang wine. So dapat i-store natin yung inventory mo na wine bago siya tuluyan maging masarap na wine. So any storage cost incurred during the maturation process for wine, dapat ipatong natin siya as part ng cost ng inventory for the wine. And then we also have non-production overhead or costs of designing products for specific customers. So kung yung product is only for specific customer, so any directly attributable non-production overheads and other costs and expenses, dapat ipatong mo siya as part ng inventory. So, yun po yun. So, we also discussed the last time, how do we account for ending inventory, kung paano natin ma-identify yung inventory mismo. And then, na-discuss din natin the last time kung paano masasabi natin kung qualified ba for capitalization yung isang borrowing cost or hindi. So ngayon, ulitin natin ha. Uulitin natin yung identification. I have here an example. So sample exercise. Nakikita po ba yung screen?
Yes po.
Alright, so this is an example
Yes,
exercise kung saan i-identify natin yung problem. So, we will identify kung inventoriable ba yung isang item dito or magkano yung amount to be included as part of the inventory. Sample exercise. The costs set out below are those typically incurred by a manufacturing business. So, anong sinabi ng problem? Yung mga cost daw na nakalatag dyan, ito daw yung normal na i-incur o binibili or meron ang isang manufacturing business. So, yan daw yun. Ngayon, para mas mapadali yung buhay natin, imbis na magko-compute tayo agad, kailangan tignan muna natin kung ano ba yung tinatanong na problem. Required. Identify the cost as either inventoriable or not and determine the amount to be included as part of the inventory. So, ano yung sinasabi ng tanong? Identify daw natin kung inventoriable ba siya o hindi. Tapos, ilagay natin kung magkano yung amount na isasama dapat sa cost ng inventory. So, saka natin balikan yung mga items na ibinigay ng problem. Nakukuha po ba? Para mas mapadali yung buhay natin.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Alright.
Yes.
Number 1, supplier's gross price for raw materials. Is that inventoriable or not? Cost 150,000 pesos. Supplier's gross price for raw materials 150,000 pesos. Is that inventoriable or not? Para mas maintindihan natin, kailangan natin tagalugin ano ba yung supplier's gross price for raw materials. Ano yung Filipino? Sa Filipino nung supplier's gross price for raw materials. Pag sinabing supplier's gross price for raw materials, ito daw yung bentahang presyo ng mga mangangalakal for raw materials, di ba? So, ito yung bentahang presyo nila. Kung yan yung bentahang presyo, tapos ikaw yung mamimili, kung ikaw ang mamimili, will that be inventoriable or not?
Not po. Not po.
Ulit. Supplier's gross price for raw materials. Tignan natin yung sinabi ng problem. The costs set out are those typically incurred by a manufacturing business. So si manufacturing business, ano siya dyan? Mamimili o siya yung nagbebenta dyan? Siya yung nagbenta ng mga raw materials o siya yung bumili?
Bumili po. Bumili po.
Siya yung bumili. That's correct. That's correct. Kasi merong word na incurred. Ibig sabihin, siya yung gumastos, di ba? Ngayon, number 1, sinabi, supplier's gross price for raw materials. Ito daw yung bentahang presyo ng mga hilaw na materyales galing sa mga supplier. Kung ikaw yung manufacturing business, tapos ikaw yung bumibili ng mga raw materials, will the cost be inventoriable or not?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable po.
Answer is inventoriable. So that is inventoriable. Magkano ang cost naman to be included as part of the cost of the inventory?
150,000 pesos po.
150,000 pesos. So that is correct, 150,000 pesos. Number 2, materials purchased from another supplier on extended credit amounting to 570,000 pesos. The price to be paid under the normal credit term is 550,000 pesos. Ano yung sinabi ng number 2? Materials purchased. So ito daw yung binili na materyales ng manufacturing business sa isa pang supplier. Ang presyo kapag may extended credit term, 570,000 pesos. Pero ang presyo daw kapag normal credit term, 550,000 pesos. First question, is that inventoriable or not?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable. Bakit siya
Inventoriable.
inventoriable? Same as number 1, that is the purchase price, di ba? Number 1 is the cost of purchase. Kasi binili mo yung raw materials. Second one, that is the cost of purchase because binili mo yung materials. Kaya siya inventoriable. Magkano yung dapat ilagay as part of the inventory? 570 o 550? 570 or 550?
550 po.
550 po.
Bakit 550?
Kasi sir, yung sa
Sige po. Dapat natin malaman bakit 550. Answer, that is correct. 550. So 550. But I wanted to know bakit 550 yung sagot natin.
Kasi sir, sinabi po, na materials purchased from another supplier on extended credit po, yung magiging 570.
Pag sinabing extended credit, ganito yun na, pag sinabing extended credit, imbis na isang buwan ka lang niya papautangin, after 1 month, babayaran mo na agad ng 550,000 pesos. Pero sabi niya, o sige, wala ka pa namang pera. Pwede mo akong bayaran after 2 months. So instead na 1 month mo babayaran, sasabihin niya, 2 months mo ako babayaran. Pero instead na 550,000 pesos yung babayaran mo, 570. Nakukuha po ba? So yun sinasabi na extended credit term. Nagigets po ba? Nakakasunod po ba?
Yes po.
Alright.
Yes.
Ngayon, since merong extended credit term, yung difference between the price under normal credit term saka extended credit term, lumalabas, yun ay interest expense. So, i-record mo yun as interest expense, yung 20,000 pesos. Kasi, naka-extend yung credit term mo. Dapat ito lang yung credit term mo eh. Pero binigyan ka niya ng additional credit term. So, yung additional time na binigay niya sa iyo para makabayad, merong additional na interest na dapat mong bayaran. Kaya yung difference na 20,000, interest expense mo yon kung ikaw yung manufacturing business. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba?
Yes po.
Yes
So,
po.
dapat i-record, ano yung dapat i-record dito?
Yes po.
Yung normal credit term. So, should be recorded under the normal credit term. Nagigets po ba?
Yes,
Yes
po.
po.
All right. Number 3, invoice price of raw materials purchased amounting to 180,000 pesos. Quantity discounts of 10, 5 are allowed by supplier. Question, is that inventoriable?
Yes po, inventoriable.
Bakit siya inventoriable? Because that is the cost of purchase, di ba?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable. So that is correct. Inventoriable. Question, how much should be included as part of the cost of the inventory?
153,900 pesos po.
153,900
53,900 pesos po.
pesos. So paano po natin nakuha yon? Paano po natin nakuha?
Din po sa quantity discounts, kunin lang po yung reciprocal ng mismong discount. Tapos yung pinaka-total na invoice price, i-multiply po dun sa reciprocal po na nakuha natin mula dun kanina.
All right. So ano pong sagot? 153,900
900 pesos po.
pesos. So, tama yung approach. That is correct. Yung tama yung approach. Pero, dapat nating tandaan na yung invoice price ay iba sa list price. So sinabi dito, ano po bang sinabi? Invoice price of raw materials purchased amounting to 180,000 pesos. Quantity discounts of 10, 5 are allowed by supplier. So anong binanggit ng problem? Invoice price. Nakukuha po ba? Merong pinagkaiba sa accounting, saka sa trade. Meron tayong tinatawag na list price saka invoice price. Pag sinabing list price, ito yung undiscounted price. Diba? List price is the undiscounted price. Meaning to say, hindi pa dyan binabawas yung trade discount or quantity discount. While yung invoice price, ito yung presyo na nakalagay mismo doon sa invoice, ibinawas na yung trade discount saka quantity discount. Sa accounting 1 and 2 ninyo, ano po bang sinabi ng accounting 1 and 2 ninyo? Trade discounts and quantity discounts are not recorded in the accounting transactions. Ano lang ba yung nire-record na discount? Cash discount or purchase discounts. Pero yung trade discount or quantity discount, hindi to nire-record. So from the list price minus the trade discount or quantity discount, you get the invoice price. Nakukuha po ba? Nakakasunod ba?
Yes.
Alright.
Yes po. Yes po.
So, ano pong sinabi ng problem? Invoice price daw. So kapag invoice price, na-consider na yung trade discount or quantity discount. So lumalabas, neto na ba itong 180,000 pesos na to? Net na ba itong 180,000 pesos na to? Yes or
Yes
no?
po.
Yes po.
Yes. So the answer is 180,000 pesos. So laging tatandaan na, list price saka invoice price. So huwag malilito doon sa terminology na ginagamit ng mga accounting problems. Kasi doon tayo magkakamali palagi. Number 4. Materials purchased from a supplier amounting to 616,000 pesos, inclusive of VAT, 12%. The company is a VAT registered and can claim this as an input VAT. Question, is this inventoriable or not?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable. That is correct. That is inventoriable. Question, another question. What amount must be included as part of the cost of the inventory? Letter A, 616,000 pesos. Letter B, 600,000 pesos. Letter C, 550,000 pesos. Letter D, 542,000 pesos. So magkano yung dapat nating i-record? How much should be included as part of the cost of the inventory? Letter A, 616,000 pesos. Letter B, 600,000 pesos. Letter C, 550,000 pesos. Letter D, 542,000 pesos.
550,000 pesos po.
550,000 pesos. That is correct. Paano natin nakuha yung 550,000 pesos? So, paano natin nakuha yung 550,000 pesos?
Since yung 616,000 pesos po is inclusive of 12% VAT, para po makuha natin yung initial price before the input VAT, i-divide lang po natin siya sa 1.12 para makuha po yung initial price.
That is correct. That's correct po. So, tama si Adrian. So that is correct. Kasi lumalabas, itong 616,000 pesos na to, that is inclusive of VAT. Diba? So lagyan natin ang arrow dito. So yung 616,000 pesos na yan, that includes the price plus VAT. So that includes the price and VAT. Diba? Ilang percent yung price? Diba? Kung yung VAT ay 12%, so lumalabas yung price ay 100%. Tama po ba? So kung yung
Yes,
price daw ay 100%, yung VAT ay 12%. Kasi nakasulat 12%. So kung titingnan natin, total is 112%. Kung 112% yon, tapos yung VAT ay 12%, lumalabas yung invoice price niya ay 100%. So that is the gross invoice price. Then we add the value-added tax, you get the total price. Diba? Yun yung nakukuha natin. So 616 daw yung 112%. Tama ba? Nakakasunod ba?
Yes po.
So yan yun. Yung
Yes po.
616,000 pesos mo, that is 112%. So you get the 12% of the 616. So by getting the 12% of the 616, you get the 66,000 pesos. So ibabawas mo yung 66,000 pesos sa 616,000 pesos, you get 550,000 pesos. So that is the gross invoice price. That is correct. So tama po yung sagot na 550,000 pesos. Number 5, materials purchased from a supplier amounting to 515,000 pesos, inclusive of non-recoverable purchase tax of 15,000 pesos. Question, is that inventoriable or not?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable po.
Yes, that's correct. That
Inventoriable po.
is inventoriable. Bakit siya naging inventoriable? Kasi that is the purchase price, di ba? Cost of the purchase. That is the cost of the purchase. So lumalabas, that is inventoriable. Ngayon, magkano yung dapat mong isama as part of the cost of the inventory?
515,000 po.
500. Letter A. What should be included as part of the cost of the inventory? Letter A, 515,000 pesos. Letter B, 500,000 pesos. Letter C, 530,000 pesos. And then letter D, 510,000 pesos. So what is your answer?
515 po, sir.
515 po.
515,000 pesos. So that is correct. 515,000 pesos. Bakit kaya 515,000 pesos?
Kasi po inclusive na po yung non-recoverable purchase tax po.
Yung number 4 kasi is inclusive din.
Pero part po kasi ng inventory pag non-refundable po yung cost.
That
Part
is
po siya
correct.
ng inventory.
That is correct. That is what I wanted to hear. Kasi non-refundable siya, non-recoverable. Kaya siya dapat isama as part ng cost of inventory. Pero dito sa number 4 kasi natin, anong sabi ng problem sa number 4? The company is a VAT registered and can claim this as an input VAT. So pwede daw niya i-claim as input VAT yung sa number 4. Therefore, refundable yung value-added tax doon. So, hindi natin isasama kasi refundable naman. Pero yung sa number 5, hindi daw refundable, hindi daw recoverable. So, wala tayong choice kundi dapat isama as part ng cost ng inventory. So, tama po yun. That is correct. Number 6, cost of transporting raw materials to the business premises. 5,000 pesos. Is that inventoriable or not?
Inventoriable po.
Yes, that is inventoriable. So that is correct. Inventoriable siya. Pero bakit siya naging inventoriable? Kaimbe inventaryo. Bakit siya kaimbe inventaryo? Kasi ano po ito?
Transportation cost.
Transportation cost ito. That's correct. Transportation cost ito to bring the raw materials to its present location and condition. Saan ba dapat ilagay yung raw materials? Ano sabi ng problem? To the business premises. Doon sa lugar ng business, ng manufacturing business. So, syempre, hindi siya makaka-incur ng cost, ng transportation cost kung hindi niya dadalhin yung raw materials niya from one point to another point, which is the business premises. So, dapat siyang isama. Magkano naman yung dapat isama?
5,000 pesos po.
5,000 pesos. So, that is correct. That is correct. 5,000 pesos. So, freight in or transportation in. So, that is correct. Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po.
Alright. Ngayon, may question ako. Punta tayo dito sa gilid. Freight in, transportation in, inventoriable. So, lagay natin dito. Inventoriable. Question. Ang freight out ba? Ang freight out po ba? Is it inventoriable? Is it inventoriable or hindi?
Hindi po.
Hindi po.
How do we
Hindi po.
record? How do we record freight out?
Operating.
Record
As a
it
operating expense.
as operating expense. So record it as OPEX, as operating expense. So that is correct. So tama rin si Adrian, si Ransley. So tama po yun. Question, another question. Freight out on consigned goods. Is that inventoriable? Freight out on consigned goods. Is that inventoriable? Freight out on consigned goods. Is that inventoriable?
Hindi po.
Answer, yes. That is inventoriable. So, yun po yung pinagkaiba. Kapag freight out, kasi terminology yung ginagamit natin. Freight out, nalilito lang kayo kasi ginamit natin is freight out. Pero pag freight out on consigned goods, sinasama po natin yon as part ng inventory ng consigned goods. Another one. Another one is, ito naman. Freight out to customers. Is that inventoriable? So is that inventoriable? Yes or no? So binibigay ko na sa inyo ha, baka kasi lumalabas yan sa exam. Lumalabas daw yan sa board exam eh. So kahit pa paano, at least alam nyo na. Alam natin, generally, kapag freight in, inventoriable. Freight out, general rule, recorded as operating expense. Freight out on consigned goods, inventoriable. Paano naman kapag freight out to customers? Is that inventoriable?
No po.
Hindi po.
Correct. So, hindi siya inventoriable. So, record it as operating expense. So, you record it as operating expense. So, that is the rulings pagdating sa freight in saka sa freight out. Let's go with number 7. Import duties paid to authorities on import of raw materials to be used during the manufacturing process. Is that inventoriable or not?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable po.
Yes, that's correct. That is inventoriable. Magkano po?
25,000.
25,000 po.
Correct. That's 25,000 pesos. Number 8. Labor costs directly incurred in the processing of the raw materials. Inventoriable or hindi?
Inventoriable po.
Inventoriable po.
Yes, that is inventoriable. So that is correct. Inventoriable. Bakit siya naging inventoriable? Because that is a cost of conversion. So that is a cost of conversion. Magkano yun dapat natin ilagay? Cost ng inventory.
420,000.
420,000.
420,000.
420,000 po.
So that's correct. Number 9, normal amount of wasted labor. Inventoriable or hindi?
Inventoriable.
Inventoriable
Hindi
po.
po.
So that's correct. Inventoriable. Kapag normal wastage, inventoriable. Magkano po? 57,000 pesos. Bakit siya naging inventoriable? Cost of conversion. Number 10, abnormal amounts of wasted labor. Inventoriable or hindi?
Inventoriable po.
Not inventoriable. So, hindi siya inventoriable. Magkano ilalagay? 0.
60.
Kasi kapag abnormal wastage, hindi sinasama as part ng cost ng inventory. Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay. Number 11.
Yes po.
Number 11, variable costs incurred in the processing of raw materials. Inventoriable or hindi?
Inventoriable.
Inventoriable po.
po.
That's correct. Inventoriable. Magkano po?
10,000.
10,000 pesos. Because that is a cost of conversion. Ngayon, magkano lahat po ito? So, total nga natin, 150,000 pesos plus 550,000 pesos plus 180,000 pesos plus 550,000 pesos plus 515,000 pesos plus 5,000 pesos plus 25,000 pesos plus 420,000 pesos plus 57,000 pesos plus 10,000 pesos. Magkano po yung total cost of the ending inventory? Magkano siya lahat? Anyone? 150 plus 550 plus 180 plus 550 plus 515 plus 5 plus 25 plus 420 plus 57 plus 10 pesos, 10,000 pesos. Magkano po lahat?
2,528,000 po.
2 million? That's 2,462,000
462,000 po.
pesos. So, ihahash ko siya kung tama ba. So, ayan. That's 2 million. Nakasulat dito. Sum. That's 2,462,000 pesos. So, 2,462,000 pesos. Kung ihahash din natin to, 2588. Kasi ano, may difference pala ito. 660. So, ito nga po yun. Answer, 2,462,000 pesos. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba, class?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Yes po, sir.
So, any
Yes po.
more question regarding this? Regarding identification, kung inventoriable or hindi, or kasama sa cost ng inventory. After this class, I will give you the handout materials. So, hindi ko pa lang siya na-send. So, there are sample problems you can try to answer. So, any more questions regarding the sample exercise? Any more
Sir,
questions?
excuse po.
Yes po.
Sir, ano po? Parang may mga examples, ibang examples pa po ba ng inventoriable po? Sana.
Opo, marami pa pong example ng non-inventoriable. Like for example, mga storage cost na general storage cost. So hindi siya dapat isama as part ng inventory. Yung selling cost, general rule, hindi siya kasama as part ng inventory. Pero merong rare cases kung saan yung inventory, nag-iisa lang siya. Tapos kapag ibebenta mo, it requires parang auction. It requires auction kung saan dapat i-advertise mo muna yung auctioned item para makita ng iba, tapos ibibid nila yon. So, syempre, di ba, the highest price will win the auction. Ngayon, any selling price related doon sa auctioned item, ilalagay mo as part ng cost ng inventory. So, doon lang yun applicable kapag auctioned yung item. Pero kapag hindi siya auctioned item, regular inventory lang siya, pinapatalastas sa TV, may kumakanta na singer, tapos nasa likod niya, nandoon yung mga detergent powder. So, yung selling expense na yon, syempre, di ba, yung selling expense related doon or marketing expense doon, hindi yon kasama as part of the cost of the inventory. Operating expense yun. Nakukuha po ba? So, depende po yun. So, maraming klase na mga non-inventoriable cost and expenses. Basta hindi siya magfo-fall within the definition sa criteria for recording cost ng inventory, then non-inventoriable cost po iyon. So, balikan natin ito. Babalikan ko to ito. Ayan. So, kapag hindi siya pumasok dito, purchase price, import duties and other taxes, handling cost, transportation cost, and other directly attributable cost, hindi mo siya ilalagay as part ng cost ng inventory. Ganon din dito sa cost of conversion. Kung hindi siya direct labor, production overhead, direct materials, joint product cost, hindi mo siya ilalagay as part ng cost ng inventory. Dito sa production overhead sa direct labor, kapag normal wastage lang siya, ilalagay mo pa rin siya as part ng cost ng inventory. Pero pag abnormal, hindi na siya makatarungan, sobrang unusual yung wastage or usage para doon, ano na yon, hindi mo siya ilalagay as part ng cost ng inventory, kundi ano siya, loss doon sa labor wastage or production wastage. So yun yung hindi mo dapat isama. And then sa other cost, ito naman, case to case scenario. So may time na pwedeng mag-qualify as inventoriable cost yung borrowing cost, may time naman na hindi siya magiging part ng cost ng inventory. Depende kung mag-qualify yung asset as a qualifying asset. Storage cost din, ganun din. General rule, hindi siya part ng inventory. Pero kung storage cost siya for work in process inventory, pwede mo siyang ilagay as part ng cost ng inventory. Tapos non-production overheads or cost of designing products for specific customers, kapag hindi siya specific customers, for general customers lang siya, so expense agad yon. Pero kapag non-production overhead siya, pero for specific customer yung ginawa, ilalagay mo yan as part ng cost ng inventory. Nakakuha po ba? Nakakasunod po ba, class? So, ganun po yun.
Yes po.
Yes
Doon natin
po.
malalaman kung inventoriable ba siya o hindi. Pag sinabing inventoriable cost yung sinasabi natin. Inventoriable ba siya? Parang sinasabi, inventoriable cost ba siya? Ganon. So, yun po yung sinasabi ng ating standard. Ano pag-aralan natin itong cost ng inventory? Ito naman, inventory system. We have two types of system na pag-aralan natin ito the last time, di ba, class? Periodic inventory system saka perpetual inventory system. Naalala pa po ba?
Opo.
Yes po.
Yes po.
So, difference lang ng periodic saka perpetual. Si perpetual, may ginagamit na stock cards kung saan na-update agad yung ending inventory, na-update agad yung cost of sales. While si periodic, at the end of the reporting period or accounting period or at the end of the calendar year, nag-inventory count. Pero pwede bang mag-inventory count si perpetual? Yes, pwedeng mag-inventory count si perpetual. So kahit may ending inventory siya, meron din siyang actual inventory count. Kasi para matignan natin kung meron bang difference between the recorded running balance ng inventory saka actual inventory. Kung may difference, mas mababa yung actual inventory kaysa sa running balance ng ending inventory, then malamang merong shortage sa inventory. Baka merong kumukuha sa inventory. May nagpupuslit ng mga produkto. So doon natin malalaman na hindi pala totoo yung inventory na naka-record sa system. Kasi meron palang hindi na i-record na item inilabas ng mga empleyado natin. So doon natin malalaman kung merong nakawan na nangyayari o kaya baka may overage, di ba? Sabihin, akala namin ganito na lang yung ending inventory, mas mababa kaysa sa inaasahan. Pero nung nag-actual inventory, mas marami pa pala. So, check natin, baka may obsolete inventory. Akala natin, inalis na lang siya sa record, pero nung nag-actual inventory, meron pa pala, may kasama pa pala. So, itong mga items na to, yung difference, obsolete inventory na yun, hindi na siya maibenta. Kaya inalis siya sa records. So, ganun yung actual inventory, saka ending inventory. That's under the perpetual inventory system. Ngayon, sa inventory cost flows, napag-aralan na rin natin itong inventory cost flows, no?
Yes po.
Alright. So,
Yes po.
inventory cost flows, dahil sa accounting standards ng PAS 2 saka IAS 2, doon natin napag-aralan na ganito pala kapag hindi interchangeable yung product or inventory, ang gagamitin nating accounting inventory method ay specific identification. Kasi nga, hindi siya maipapalit sa ibang produkto. So, hindi siya kapalit-palit. Hindi mo siya pwedeng i-interchange with other items. So, specific identification yung dapat nating gamitin. So, sinabi ng accounting standard rin na PAS 2 saka IAS 2 na specific identification yung pinaka-best na accounting method for inventory cost flow kasi namamatch niya properly yung revenue saka cost. Kaso, ginagamit lang to for highly expensive na items, na inventory, like jewelries, sports car, kasi hindi sila pwedeng ipagpalit with other item. Diba? May mga jewelry na yun lang one of a kind. Pag binili mo, wala ka nang mahahanap na iba pa. Ikaw lang ang meron nun. So, yun yung ginagamitan ng specific identification. Pero sa mga interchangeable, pwedeng maipagpalit. Pwedeng gumamit ng first in, first out method, weighted average method, saka last in, first out method. Pag tinignan natin yung past 2 saka IAS 2, ang binabanggit lang doon ay 3. Specific identification, last in, first out, saka weighted average. Hindi sinasama yung last in, first out. Kasi pinagbabawal yon ng accounting standards. Bakit? Vina-violate niya yung revenue and cost matching principle. Pero may sinabi rin kasi doon yung accounting standard in cases na merong applicable accounting method na gagamitin ng isang entity tapos mas magiging presentable, fairly presented yung financial information, so okay lang daw. So, for the purpose of discussion, pwede nating i-discuss itong last in, first out. Diba sa inyong cost accounting na pag-aralan niyo po ito?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Yes po.
So, ngayon, pag-aaralan natin siya ulit, pero meron tayong mas gagawin natin siyang mas exciting. So, gagamitin natin, what if, kung may specific identification using periodic, inventory system, tapos paano naman kaya pag specific identification under perpetual inventory system? Ganun din. Paano kapag FIFO pero naka-periodic ka? Paano kapag perpetual naman? Paano ka magla-LIFO kapag naka-periodic ka? Paano naman kapag naka-perpetual? Paano din ang weighted average kapag naka-periodic ka? Paano din naman kapag naka-perpetual ka? So, ganun po yung ating gagawin. Okay. So, let's answer a problem. Inventory cost flows, inventory cost formula. The following data pertain to an inventory unit item. Ayan. Meron tayong units, unit cost, total cost, sales, and units. January 1, beginning balance daw, ilang units? Ilang units, class? Nakikita niyo po ba?
800 po.
800.
800 po.
Tapos magkano ang unit cost?
200.
200 po.
200. So total cost is 160. Noong January 8, merong sale, 500 units. January 18, may purchase, 700 units at 210 pesos per cost. Magkano yung total cost?
147.
147. January 22, may sale daw. Merong bentahan, 800 units. And then January 31, may purchase, 500 units at 220 pesos per unit. Magkano yung total doon? 110,000 pesos. Question, ilang units ang ending inventory natin?
700.
700. So, bakit siya naging 700? Kasi, from 800, we minus 500, we add 700, we minus 800, then we add 500. So, all in all, the ending inventory is 700 units. Nakukuha po ba? Tama ba? Nakakasunod ba tayong lahat? Pare-pareho tayo ng sagot?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay. Ngayon, pag first in, first out method, anong ginagawa? Kapag first in, first out method, kapag first in, first out, kung ano yung una mong ipinasok, yun yung unang lalabas. Tama po ba? Para
Yes,
ba tayo
yes po.
pagkakaintindi?
Yes po.
Kapag ang unang ipinasok 800, dapat 800 rin yung unang lalabas. Kapag sumunod na ipinasok na yung 700 units, 700 din yung susunod na lalabas. Tapos at the same time, 500 huling ipinasok, siya yung dapat huling ilalabas na inventory. Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po.
Yes
Yes
po.
po.
Yes po.
That's correct. Now, under the periodic system, under the periodic system, sabi daw 700 daw yung ending inventory. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
700
Yes
yung
po.
ending inventory. Ngayon, saan manggagaling yung ending inventory na 700? Based dito sa binili na units. Saan yan manggagaling, class?
Sa January 31 na purchase and January 18 na purchase.
Yeah, that's correct. So dahil first in, first out tayo, yung mga huling ipinasok na inventory, doon tayo kukuha ng units. So 500, pasok na pasok siya doon sa loob ng 700. So ito yung pinurchased units on January 31. So purchase units yan on January 31. Magkano ito? Magkano pa yung 500 pesos na 500 units na yan?
100.
100.
200 pesos.
Magkano po? 110,000
110,000.
pesos. So, sapat na ba yung 500 doon sa 700? Yes or no?
Hindi pa po.
Hindi po.
So, meron pa tayong 200 na remaining, di ba? To get 700. Saan naman natin to kukunin?
January
Sa
18.
January 18.
Purchased units on January 18. So, yung January 18 na yan, magkano yung remaining ending inventory? 200 times
210.
210. So, magkano yun?
42,000.
42,000 plus 110,000. Magkano ang inyong ending inventory?
152,000 po.
152,000 pesos. So, that is under periodic system. Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes po.
Now, let's go. Let's apply first in, first out under perpetual system. Kapag perpetual system, gumagamit ng stock cards. Diba yan yung sinasabi sa inyo ng teacher ninyo? Pag perpetual, merong stock cards, merong purchase, merong issuance. Diba? Merong purchase, merong sales. So, ito, example nito, kunwari, ito yung stock cards. So, noong January 1, meron tayong beginning balance. Ilan po yun? 800.
800.
Tama po ba? 800.
Yes po.
Magkano ang purchase cost ng 800 na yon? 160,000.
160.
So, magkano ang ending balance niya? Po, as of January 1, magkano ang ending inventory balance? 160,000. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Yes. January 8, ilan yung naibentang units?
500 po.
500. So may 500 tayo. Lagay natin kabawasan. Magkano yung cost ng 500 units na yon? Magkano yung cost ng 500 units na yon?
200 po.
At 200.
100,000.
So magkano yon?
100,000.
100,000.
100,000. So kung 100,000 yung lumabas sa inventory, magkano na lang ang ending inventory as of January
60,000.
60,000.
8? So that is correct. January 18, ilang units yung binili?
700 po.
700.
900.
Magkano yung cost nun? Total cost?
147.
147. So magkano ang ending inventory balance as of January 18?
207,000.
207,000. Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po.
Yes
Alright.
po.
Yes.
January 22, meron po bang binenta?
Meron po.
Meron po.
Ilang units?
800.
800.
800. So anong ina-apply natin? First in, first out. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Alright. Ngayon, kung first in, first out, ilan na lang yung natira dito sa 800?
300.
300 po.
300. So, dapat magbawas muna tayo ng 300 dyan. Kung 300 yon, magkano yung cost ng 300 units?
60,000.
60,000.
po.
60,000. And then, ilang units pa? May natitira.
500 po.
500.
500.
So, saan natin kukuhanin yung 500? Dito sa
Sa
700
210.
units.
Ay,
So,
sa
that's
700.
correct. Tama po yun. Tama po yan, sa 210. 500 units times 210. Magkano po yun? 100.
105,000.
105. So that's correct. So magkano ang ending inventory balance natin as of January 22? Magkano na yung ending inventory balance natin as of January 20?
147.
42,000.
42,000 pesos. Alright. So, 42,000 pesos, di ba, class? Alright,
Opo.
class. Okay.
Yes po.
Can we just pause for a while? I'll just charge my laptop. All right, class, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay. So as of January 22, 42,000 na lang yung ending balance. Kaso ng January 31, merong binili ulit. Ilang units?
500.
500. And then magkano yung cost? Yung purchase cost mo?
110,000.
110. So magkano na yung ending balance? Using
152 po.
152,000 pesos. Match ba yon doon sa FIFO periodic?
Yes po.
Yes
Yes
po.
po.
Yes po.
Whether FIFO periodic or FIFO perpetual, pareho yung mako-compute nyo na ending inventory. Nakukuha po ba?
Yes po.
Alright. So, magkano yung cost of sale under FIFO periodic? Magkano ba yung tigas? Magkano yung tigas? Your tigas is amount purchased, di ba? Plus the beginning inventory. Beginning inventory plus the amount purchased. 417,000 pesos. So kapag tinanong kayo magkano yung tigas, 417,000 pesos. Magkano yung cost of sale? How do we compute for cost of sale? Total goods available for sale minus
Ending inventory.
kung magkano yung cost of sale nyo?
265,000.
Okay. So, using the perpetual, na-compute na agad natin yung tigas saka cost of sale. So, ito yung cost of sale nyo, total, sales at cost, and then purchase cost. Ito yung tigas mo. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba, class?
Yes po.
Yes
Yes
po.
po.
So, tinuro rin sa inyo to, no? Pareho, perpetual saka periodic. Or ano lang po yung tinuro sa inyo sa cost accounting?
Same po.
Same din. Alright.
Depende po kung anong gagamitin niyo.
Kung nagla-last in, kung periodic or perpetual. Alright. So, sa last in, first out, ganun din yung scenario. However, imbis na first in, last in yung ating magiging first out. Diba? So, sa periodic, ilang units daw? 700. Diba? 700 units. Kapag 700 units yon, saan natin gagawing basis? Saan tayo titingin? Kapag last in, first out, under periodic. Yung beginning balance. Tama po ba? Nagigets po ba?
Yes po.
So yung beginning balance na yan, ilang units yung meron?
700 po.
Beginning balance, ilang units yung nandito sa beginning balance?
800.
800. So pasok ba
800
dyan?
po.
Pasok ba yung 700 dyan sa 800? Kasya ba?
Yes po.
Yes po.
So kung kasya yung
Yes.
700 sa 800, so lumalabas lahat ng 700 na yan units as of January 1. So what will be your total cost ng ending inventory? 700 units times 200 peso per unit. That is the value nung beginning inventory, di ba?
Opo.
Kasi yan yung magiging basis mo for computing ending inventory using LIFO periodic. So nakuha na natin agad yung ending inventory ng LIFO periodic. Ngayon, perpetual LIFO naman tayo. Kapag perpetual LIFO, ano gagawin natin? Ilan yung pinurchase?
800 po.
800. Sorry, beginning balance, 800. Magkano yung purchase cost?
200.
200. So ilan yon? 160.
160.
Magkano ang ending inventory balance as of January 1?
160,000.
160,000. January 8, may purchase po ba? Or may sale?
Sale po.
Sale.
May sale.
Sale
So
po.
kung may sale siya, 500 units, magkano yung cost? Sales at cost.
100,000.
That's 100,000. So magkano yung ending inventory balance as of January 8? 60,000. Then on January 18, may purchase po ba?
700.
700. So may purchase ng 700, magkano yung value ng 700 units na yon?
147 po.
147. Magkano ang ending inventory as of January 18?
207.
207. And then on January 22, ilan yung nabenta?
300.
800 po.
800. Yung 800 na yon, saan muna natin unang kukunin?
January
Purchase
18
po
po.
ng January 18.
700.
Sa 700. So doon tayo sa 700, di ba? 700 times 210. That's 147. So ibabawas natin yon dito sa 207. And then meron pang, saan naman natin, na-exhaust na ba yung 800 na sales?
May 100 po.
Meron pang 100. So saan naman natin kukunin yung 100?
Sa 200.
Kay January 1 po.
Sa January 1 times 200. So 20,000. So magkano ang ending inventory balance as of January 22?
40,000 po.
40.
40,000. And then on January 31, merong purchase, 500. Magkano po yun?
110.
110. So magkano ang ending inventory balance?
30,000.
Magkano ang ending inventory balance? 150,000 pesos. So kung mapapansin nyo, merong difference between the periodic LIFO sa perpetual LIFO na 10,000 pesos. And these 10,000 pesos will form part of the cost of sale nung LIFO periodic. Kasi dito kay LIFO perpetual, 150,000 pesos. Meaning to say, the cost of sale is lesser than the cost of sale of the LIFO periodic kasi nga napunta sa cost of sale ng LIFO periodic. So kung mapapansin nyo, magkano ang cost of sale dito? Sa LIFO perpetual, 267,000 pesos. Tigas, same lang. Kasi ano ba ang tigas? Beginning inventory plus purchases. So 417,000 pesos. So meaning to say, the tigas under periodic system, LIFO periodic is 417 din, di ba? Pero magkano ang cost of sale? How do we compute for cost of sale? Tigas minus ending inventory. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Nakakasunod po ba?
Yes po.
Yes po.
So magkano ang cost of sale under periodic? LIFO periodic, 277. Magkano ang cost of sale under LIFO perpetual? 267. Any question regarding LIFO, periodic, and LIFO perpetual? Any question? None so far.
None so far.
All right. Okay, so let's go with the weighted average method. So sa weighted average method, pwede natin gamitin yung weighted average periodic sa weighted average perpetual. So sa weighted average periodic, tinatawag siya ng ibang author as, ano pong tawag? Simple average. Natatandaan po ba yan sa sinabi ng inyong professor sa cost accounting? Kapag weighted average periodic, ang tawag doon, simple average. Pag weighted average perpetual, ang tawag naman doon ay moving average. Bakit siya moving average? Kasi nagmo-move siya. Kaya tinawag na moving average. How do we compute for the weighted average under periodic? Weighted average periodic, paano natin kino-compute yung weighted average periodic? You compute first the total goods available for sale. So you have beginning balance. Magkano yung beginning balance mo noong January 1? You have 800 units times 200 peso per unit, di ba? Magkano yon? 160,000 pesos. Tama po. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Alright. And then meron kang purchases noong January 18. Ilan yung binili mo ng January 18?
700.
700 times 210.
210.
And then meron kang purchases noong January 31. Ilan po lahat yon?
500.
500.
Times 220. So magkano yung total goods available for sale mo? 417. So whether you use FIFO, LIFO, weighted average, or specific identification, lagi pareho yung inyong total goods available for sale. Ngayon, how do we compute for the weighted average unit cost? How do we compute for the weighted average unit cost? Pigas over total units. Ilan ba lahat ng units? 800 plus 700 plus 500. Ilan po yun?
2,000 units.
2,000. So 417,000 divided by 2,000 units. Ang nakuha mo, 208 pesos and 50 centavos. That will be your weighted average unit cost. Nakakasunod po ba?
Yes,
Yes
po.
po.
Yes po.
Alright.
Yes po.
And then, this will be our factor rate to be used to compute the ending inventory. Ilang units yung natira for ending inventory?
700.
700. So, 700 yung ating units, di ba, na natira. Kung magkano ang ating ending inventory?
145.
145,950 pesos. Then your cost of sale is 271,050 pesos under weighted periodic. Weighted average periodic. Nakukuha po ba, class? Nagigets po ba?
Yes.
Alright. Well, sa moving average or weighted average perpetual, nagmo-move yung average when every time there is a purchase. Nakukuha po ba? Nagigets po ba?
Yes po.
Alright. So, noong January 1, ilang units? 800
800.
units. Yung unit cost, 200. Nakukuha po ba? So, yung 200 pesos na yan yung weighted average niya, weighted average cost niya as of January 1. So, magkano yun?
160.
160.
Noong January 8, merong ano po, noong January
Sale.
Sale.
Merong sale. Ilang unit?
Sale po.
Ilang unit?
500.
500.
500
So,
po.
ng 500, merong ibinawas na 100,000 based dito sa weighted average unit cost na 200. So, ilan na lang yung natira na ending
Three.
balance in units? Ending balance in units?
300 po.
300 po.
300. And then yung unit cost niya, yung total cost niya as of January 8, 60,000. January 18, anong meron sa January 18?
Purchase
Purchase
po.
po.
Purchase.
Purchase
So, meron purchase na 700. So, magkano yung, balikan ulit natin January 8.
210.
So, let's compute for the weighted unit average cost. 200 pa din, di ba?
200.
Pero dahil ng January 18 may purchase, magkano yung purchase unit cost?
210 po.
210. So, magkano yun? 147. So, magkano yun?
147.
Ilang units na lahat yon?
1,000 po.
1,000. And then, magkano yung total cost ng inventory na yon? As of total inventory cost? 200?
207.
So, because of the additional purchase, it moves the average from one amount to another. So, 207,000 pesos divided by 1,000. Magkano yung
207.
207.
Yes, that's 207. Then, nung January 22, may bentahan bang naganap?
Yes po.
Meron po.
Yes po.
Ilang units? 800.
800.
Then, our basis for computation is 207. That's the new weighted average under perpetual. So, ilan na lang yung natira na unit?
200 po.
200. At yung weighted average total cost niya is 41,400. And then yung weighted average unit cost niya, 207. And then January 31, merong pinurchase ulit,
500.
500.
500. At magkano? 220. Mas magkano yung total cost? 110. Tama po ba? Yes. Tama po ba, class?
Yes po.
Alright. So, ilang units na lahat?
700 po.
700. So, magkano ang bagong weighted average unit cost?
216.3.
216.3 or 216 pesos and 29 centavos. So, magkano ang ating ending inventory? Under weighted perpetual, 151,400. Magkano naman ang ending inventory under weighted average periodic? 145,950. Magkano ang cost of sale under weighted periodic? 271,050. And then magkano naman yung cost of sale under weighted perpetual? 265,600. Nakukuha po ba, class?
Yes po.
Yes
Yes
po.
po.
Specific identification. May specific identification, wala tong formula dito. So whether you use specific identification periodic, you always get the same ending inventory and cost of sale. Kasi ina-identify mo lang specifically kapag specific identification, di ba? So you have here unit 1, you have here unit 2, you have here unit 3, you have here unit 4. Unit 4. Sabihin natin yung cost ng unit 1 is 100,000 pesos. Yung isa, yung unit 2, 150. Yung unit 3, 75,000 pesos. And then unit 4 is 200,000 pesos. So, ito, ayan yung nakukuha natin na, yan yung nakukuha natin na cost per unit daw na yon, yung unit ng item. Ngayon, syempre kapag binenta mo siya, kapag ang ibinenta mo is yung unit 4, yung mapupunta sa cost of sale mo ay yung unit 4 muna. So, part ng cost of sale mo yan. Diba? Ngayon, kapag naibenta mo yung unit 2, yung unit 2 na cost yung kukunin mo. So, syempre, kung hindi mo na naibenta yung iba, that will be your ending inventory. So, magkano ending inventory natin under specific identification? 175,000 pesos. And then, magkano ang ating cost of sale? 350,000 pesos. Nagigets po ba, class?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Alright. So, that is under specific identification. So, whether you use periodic system na specific identification or perpetual system na specific identification, you always get the same cost of sale and ending inventory. Same with the FIFO cost flow assumption. Nakuha po ba, class? Nagigets po ba?
Opo.
Yes
All
po.
right. So, any more question regarding this?
Yes po.
Any more question, class?
None so far po.
None so far. Okay. So, after this class, I'll send you probably within 1 hour the handout material so you can have a look on the lecture as well as on the examples, problems, and exercises. You can try to answer. So, para alam po natin kung paano sagutan. And then, thank you so much for joining this class discussion. Please have your dinner. Thank you so much, class. Class dismissed.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po.
Sir.